senior men's championships. There you can see at the top of the list, Kaan Keegan Özbilan, defending champion. Former champions Aras Kaya and Polat Kemboy Arakan also in this field today for a very strong Turkish team. The very good Frenchman who finished fourth last year, Hassan Chadeh, leads the French. The longest race of the day, 6 long laps and 1 final lap. Brings us up to a total of 10.3 kilometres. Well, we're hoping you're enjoying this European Athletics live stream here from Tilburg and the Spa European Cross Country Championships. It's brought to you with the assistance of Spa, La Gruyere and Eurovision, European Athletics International partners. So 89 competitors from no less than 27 countries will take part in the senior men's race. Well, we saw Yasmin Chan defend her title. Wonder whether it'll be the turn of Kaan Keegan Özbilan to follow in her footsteps. He was a bit of a surprise last year. We were looking at other members of the Turkish team, like previous winners such as Polat Kemboy Arakan and Aras Kaya. It was Özbilan who came through. It's the very good Norwegian team. Looks as though Henrik Ingebrigtsen has been waxing his moustache. There's Philip Ingebrigtsen, both Henrik and Philip Ingebrigtsen, both former European 1500-metre champions on the track. There's Robin Hendricks, finished in the top 10 of the under-23 race last year. Former under-23 champion Isaac Kimeli, who's been in fine form this winter. At the front of the Italian team, Yamani Bahan Kripa and Daniel Maiucci. Maiucci, former European marathon champion. Kripa, 2-time under-20 winner. Michel Buta and Khalid Chakoud, the 2 men at the front of the pen for the Netherlands. Michel Buta finished in the top 10 in the past, finished 9th back in 2008, ran back here in 2005. Khalid Chakoud, for a number of years, the best Dutch cross-country runner. Very strong Spanish team. You can see Adel Machal, second last year. And he's been running extremely well on the country as well this year. But these are probably the favourites. Arakan, Kaya and Özbilan. All 3 men individual gold medalists at the Spa European Cross Country Championships in the past, including this man, the defending champion. So 30 minutes or so of running ahead of us.
On your mark. And we are off in the men's race.
This is just fractionally longer than last year's race. Last year's race, just a touch over 10 kilometres, so about 180 metres longer than last year's race. Turkey also took the team title 12 months ago, followed home by Spain and Great Britain, Northern Ireland. Very congested around the first bend there. You can see the 2 Ingebrigtsens going through your screen. Well, the course is now starting to cut up and get very muddy. We've had 5 races already on this circuit. Jiri Homolak of the Czech Republic, better known as a road runner.
You can see the start list in the senior men's race of the European Cross Championships. Number 2.
There's Isaac Kimeli, Mark Scott as well. Mark Scott representing Europe at the IAAF Continental Cup in September, over 5,000 metres. And now Edel Machal.
I spoke to Edel Machal yesterday, and he confirmed that he hasn't left the 1500 metres. That's still his target event. He wants to see how good he can be at it. But this year was a bit of a break for him. He did the 10,000 metres instead at the European Championships.
Yes, finished fourth, didn't he? He's got quite a range as Machal, going from being a medalist at the European Indoors at 3,000 up to just missing out on a medal at 10,000 and getting a silver here 12 months ago. He was quite optimistic about this. Speaking to him at yesterday's press conference, he was saying, well, it's not quite as muddy as he feared it might be, and he doesn't mind the mud, in contrast to many runners from Spain or Italy who prefer much harder surfaces, the much more traditional, harder parkland surfaces, which predominate in the cross-country races in those countries. And he's showing that here. He's to the front, followed by Aras Kaya and Polak Kemboy Arakan. Arakan, a two-time former European 10,000 metre champion. Also up there, Napoleon Solomon in fourth place. Solomon, the former Nordic cross-country champion, the Swede.
And if you remember last year, Phil, this race was quite similar to the race we've just seen in the women, where it was Machal versus Osbelen.
Indeed, there's a second Swede up there in fourth place.
The third Turkish runner there had a bit of a difficult ascent. That was the defending champion, Osbelen.
So Abrama, the oldest man in this field, indeed the oldest man in these championships, at 41 years of age, currently in fourth place, defying father time very slightly. So at the moment it's Machal, Kaya and Abrama. Also up there in the well-known yellow vests of Sweden is Robel Fischer. It's in fifth place at the moment as Abrama takes the lead. So one lap completed. It's still Edel Machal at the front, the Spaniard. And Yamani Bahan Kripa has moved through to get himself up to fifth place at the moment. Yamani Bahan Kripa, well, he finished third in last year's under-23 race, would have still been eligible to run in that race, but he's had a good winter, won the Italian senior title, and decided, even though he's only 22 years of age, to throw in his lot with the seniors. Some familiar names there. Very good German runner, Florian Orth in the 20s. Nakanget Kripa, former world junior mountain running champion and the older brother of Yamani Bahan Kripa. He's in the 20s as well, as probably Britain's #1 cross-country runner this year, winner of the Liverpool race, Ross Millington in the top 10. Everybody looking very relaxed at this stage. Nick Gulab also up there. As we pan back down the field, there's Osbeland, the defending champion, now back on his feet, but long way back. Well, he's made up ground very sharply, but still down in about 10th place at the moment. So Nick Gulab, one of two Britons in the top 15. There's Filip Ingebrigtsen. Probably in around 10th place at the moment. The former European 1500 metres champion. And brother, of course, of the astonishingly talented Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who won earlier today the men's under-20 title. Well, struggling to negotiate that corner. That becoming tricky. Hassan Chadi has moved up well in the last kilometre. Fisker, who showed earlier. Still up there, still battling. 3 Swedes in about the top 12, 13 places. But it's former champion Polak Kemboy Arakan alongside Hassan Chadi. Chadi, a under-20 and under-23 champion himself. And Filip Ingebrigtsen just tagged on nicely onto the back of that leading group. Osbilan in the second group at the moment, the defending champion. Just wondering whether he was shaken up a little bit. There's Michel Buter, popular local figure. Now has his attention on the marathon. He's improved to being 4th on the Dutch all-time list. So 9 people in that leading group, with Filip Ingebrigtsen at the rear, the very tall Norwegian. Then a little bit of daylight. But still not very much in it between the first 20, 25 runners. So we're coming up to complete about 3 kilometres into this race. Running at just over about 3 minutes a kilometre.
And the first 2 laps have been covered in exactly the same time, 4:14.
I have to say, looking at the defending champion, Khan Keegan Osbilan, he doesn't look at all comfortable there following that fall. Howie Griffiths, 2:09 marathon runner, completing the top 10. Griffiths, of course, was up with the leaders last year before he tore a hamstring and had to withdraw from the race. Khaled Chakoud, well, a bit further back than perhaps he would have liked, in 25th position. Daniel Mateo in 36th. Well, he was in the top 10 last year. Going to have to move up quickly and move up and make some improvements if he's to emulate that achievement. But it's Arakan and Kaya from Turkey amongst the leaders, with now Filip Ingebrigtsen at the front. Just under a third of the way into the race, it's Turkey leading the team standings. Not a complete surprise. It's Ingebrigtsen leading the individual race at the moment. I wonder how much of the race of his brothers he managed to see. Aras Kaya on the shoulder of Ingebrigtsen at the moment as they negotiate that very tight turn. Adel Machal, Polak Kemboy Arakan. Napoleon Solomon, the former Nordic champion from last year, has moved up very well. Aras Kaya, the 2016 European cross-country champion. Arakan winning his title 2 years prior to that in 2014. But it's Filip Ingebrigtsen at the moment, really dictating the pace.
And Felipe Ingebrigtsen is the only one of his three brothers that hasn't won an individual gold medal at these championships.
I don't think he's competed in them that often in the past, unlike his brothers. Might have had one or two appearances in the past, but Henrik and Jakob have been fairly regular faces at these championships. Henrik Ingebrigtsen, just as we mentioned him, struggling a little bit, down in about 20th position with that Hercule Poirot moustache. So we're about 4K into this race now, and it's Felipe Ingebrigtsen leading the way. Aras Kaya, 2016 European champion, followed by Adel Machal, last year's silver medalist. That's the 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
First place, leading this men's race is Felipe Ingebrigtsen from Norway.
Well, that was a 4:11 lap. So Isaac Kimeli, under 23 champion from a couple of years ago. Up there now at the sharp end of the senior race. So a hugely talented leading group there with a myriad of gold medals between them in various categories. But it's still Felipe Ingebrigtsen looking very comfortable at the front. Fernando Caro down then 42nd place there. Well, he was the 3,000 metre steeplechase silver medalist in Berlin. Not going to get amongst the individual medals here, I think. Spain still, though, very much in contention for perhaps a team medal. There's Aris Kaya now moving to the 4. Well, Turkey leading by quite a large margin, 16 points from Great Britain, followed by Belgium in 3rd place at the moment. Just under halfway into this race. Osbalanos made progress after his earlier slip, almost went down for a second time there.
But you can see he's being quite careful at in the turns, perhaps losing a little of distance, but making sure he doesn't lose his footing.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's obviously a somewhat unnerving experience going down in these sort of conditions. But he's got back up there. He seemed to dart forward and then just relaxed a little bit, realising that there was still plenty of the race still to be run. So it's Aris Kaya, the 2016 champion, at the front at the moment. Aris Kaya finished 7th 12 months ago in Samarin. Felipe Ingebrigtsen in 2nd place. Ingebrigtsen, the 2016 European 1500 metre champion, and took bronze at the Worlds last year in 2017. Somewhat unfortunate to injure his ankle in the semi-finals of the European 1500 metres in Berlin as he was attempting a defence of his title. Kimeli, well, Kimeli losing his footing a bit there, didn't go down, but just shows you this is a very, very difficult course indeed. Well, next year in 2019 we go to the Portuguese capital, Lisbon. I'm fairly sure it's going to be a bit drier there. Possibly a bit harder underfoot. Just look at that. those conditions now. Quagmire of sand and earth, sodden with days of rain. Very, very heavy going now. So they're in all sorts of trouble going around that bend. So we've got a leading group of 8 with Yamani Bahan Kripa just starting to lose a little bit of contact with the leading pack there. Still leading, it's Philippe Ingebrigtsen trying to follow in the footsteps of his younger brother Jakob.
From Turkey, born in 1986, the defending European cross-country champion in the lead at this moment.
Well, Philippe Ingebrigtsen's got 2 previous appearances at these championships. He was 45th as a under-20 athlete back in 2012. 19th as an under-23 athlete back in 2015. At the moment, it's Turkey 1 and 2 as Ingebrigtsen slips, both metaphorically and literally, back to the rear of that leading group of 5. So Özbilan now back in contention with the leaders. It's Kaya and Özbilan, winners for the last 2 years. Adel Machal of Spain, silver medalist 12 months ago. 2016 under-23 champion Isaac Kimeli, the Belgian, in 4th. And Philippe Ingebrigtsen in 5th. Napoleon Solomon of Sweden in 6th. Yamani Bahan Kripa of Italy in 7th. That's the leaders. About 11 minutes of running still to go. 2014 champion Arakan in 8th place at the moment. So Turkey very convincingly in the lead in the team competition. Well, Kimeli hanging on to the 2 Turkish runners, with Özbilan now putting up a valiant defence of his title. Very slight gap appearing between the leading 3 and then Adel Machal and Philippe Ingebrigtsen. But both Machal and Ingebrigtsen, 2 men that we know have got very good finishing speed. And we've already seen in a couple of races today athletes coming from a long way back on the final lap as well to get medals. Still Kaan Keegan Özbilan at the front. And Aras Kaya, his Turkish teammate, in 2nd place at the moment. Well, it's concertina together again. Philippe Ingebrigtsen has got up with the leaders. Adel Machal hasn't let them go either, although Machal does look as though he's starting just to look a little bit tired. Ingebrigtsen, though, still looking very, very calm and confident.
I think Kimeli has a bit of a surprise package here because he won the under-23 title 2 years ago. He's bided his time. He didn't do the senior race last year, but we saw him running a 1 kilometre relay in Edinburgh at the beginning of the year. Belgium didn't have a relay team at this event last year.
I think one indication that he's in good shape was that he won the Rousselard cross-country, which is a very high-quality race in Belgium last month against quite a good international field. So we knew he was fit from that. Well, Michal, last year's silver medalist, now starting to get dropped. So it's Osbilan, Kimeli, Ingebrigtsen and Kaya. They're the four at the front. Osbilan at the back, the defending champion. So it's Kaya's turn to go to the front. And direct proceedings, Kimeli doing a very good job of hanging on to Kaya. Ingebrigtsen, well, he was in good shape going into Berlin before he had that minor ankle injury, and he's clearly recovered quite quickly from that and had a very good winter. In very good shape, Philippe Ingebrigtsen. Of course, morale running very high in the Norwegian team as well. They've picked up medals, not just thanks to Jakob Ingebrigtsen, but they've got team titles, and they've also seen Caroline Björkli-Grovdal win her fourth successive bronze medal in the senior women's race just a short while ago. Osbilan starting to blow a little bit. He's still within striking distance, but he's starting to look tired now. Further back, Michal, very tired indeed. I think Michal's hopes of an individual medal starting to evaporate. Well, yeah, Solomon, if you're just seeing him on the shot, Solomon did look a little bit more relaxed, and now I think Solomon's trying to close the gap on Osbilan. Imadi Bahan Kripa still hanging on in there. In 7th place at the moment. The former under-20 champion.
Who won this race when it was the open race earlier last month, the Warren Loop.
Yeah, slightly different conditions then, so I'm told. It was much drier. And indeed, Kripa won it 2 minutes quicker than the 2017 winner. Well, about 2 kilometres to go now. Philippe Ingebrigtsen still looking very relaxed. Aras Kaya just behind him. Isaac Kimeli tiring, I think, but still hanging on in there. It's Khan Keegan Osbilan, the defending champion.
And I think all these four men have very good finishing kicks. I've seen them all win races with fast finishes before.
Yes, if the finish was just around the corner and let's say 200 metres away, I'd probably favour Ingebrigtsen, but who knows what another 2 kilometres of running is going to do to his legs. But it's still Ingebrigtsen leading the way. Well, Kimeli, we've known he's an outstanding athlete. That was shown when he won the European Under-23 cross-country title 2 years ago. Now really making an impact in the senior ranks. As we hear the bell for 1 lap to go, 1,300 metres of running. So there's the leading quartet. Aras Kaya of Turkey just edging into the lead now on his shoulder. Norway's Philippe Ingebrigtsen just behind them. Isaac Kimeli of Belgium just starting to lose contact a little bit with the leading trio. It's Khan Keegan Osbilan. All four men in one form or another having won European titles in the past. But it's Kaya now pushing the pace. 2016 champion. Finished back in 7th last year. He's making a really good bid to try and regain his title. Osbilan, well, starting to get a second wind. He looked as though he was tiring, but at the moment Well, just as I say that, he slips back again. He's running out wide by the lake. It's the three main protagonists are Kaya, Ingebrigtsen and Kimeli.
And in the team, I think Turkey are away and clear, and Britain, Italy and Spain are vying for the other medals.
Third place, Team Italy. Fourth place, Team Spain. And fifth place, Team Belgium.
It's still Kaya now. Less than a kilometre of running to go. Confirmation of what Mark was saying. Turkey very clearly in the lead, followed by Great Britain, Northern Ireland and Italy. We've still got one lap of running. As far as the team standings are concerned, a lot can change. Turkey at this stage looking as though they're well on the way to retaining their team title. Well, Özbilan starting to look quite tired. Kimeli and Kaya just getting slightly tangled up there around that corner, nothing too dramatic. But Filip Ingebrigtsen having an outstanding run. Starting to lap a few of the back markers now.
Well, he may not have watched his brother win, but you can be sure that he would have conferred with Jakob, so he would have had a really good insight as to what to look out for on the course, and that surely is a help.
Well, this is Ingebrigtsen's first cross-country race of the winter, as far as I'm aware. I mean, he's run on the roads, had a good run in that 10K race I mentioned in Hull. Finished second. Well, it's looking as though Turkey are out of it after winning 4 different individuals in the last 4 years. This looks as though it's a battle between Norway and Belgium. Well, now that 1,500 metre speed coming to the fore. Filip Ingebrigtsen, 2016 European 1,500 metre champion, 2018 European cross-country champion. Norway take gold, Belgium take silver, Isaac Kimeli, and Aras Kaya is the bronze medalist from Turkey. Defending champion Kaan Keegan Özbilan just out of the medals in 4th place. Good run from Sweden's Napoleon Solomon, the former Nordic champion, coming through for 5th. Yamani Bahan Kripa in 6th for Italy. Turkey almost certainly take the team title. Polat Kemboy Arakan, 2014 European cross-country champion, coming through for 7th place. Mark Scott and Sean Tobin of Britain and Northern Ireland complete the top 10. Good runs from both men. Well, looking at this, the Spaniards have moved up very well on the last lap. Both Abadia and Mateo have come through very strongly over that final 1.3 kilometre lap. Hassan Chadi, we're looking at him to do well, but finished down in 25th place. Ross Millington, Britain's number 1, down towards about 29th place there. Well, I can't think of another occasion when 2 brothers have won individual European titles on the same day. That's one for the statisticians. What a magnificent finish, though, from Filip Ingebrigtsen. And quite rightly. Kisses his biceps. Demonstration of his strength. What a family. Isaac Kimeli, can't take anything away from the young Belgian. Really battled all the way through to the finish. But the superior sprint speed of a former European 1,500 metre champion just carries him home to another gold medal.
And it looks as if Norway are going to top the medal table, because that's 3 golds. You were right about Spain coming through, but I think they just fell short of a medal. Phil, I've got Turkey first, Britain second, Italy third, 1 point ahead of Spain.
There we go. The popularity of the Ingebrigtsens has ensured a large number of Norwegian journalists have made the trip here to Tilburg. There's Jiri Homolek, Czech Republic. We saw him at the front in the first few hundred metres. Coming home a bit further back. Confirmation, Filip Ingebrigtsen wins by 3 seconds from Isaac Kimeli. 4 seconds further back, taking the bronze. Aras Kaya, Osbilan, Solomon, Cripper, Arikan, Mitchell and Scott. That's the rest of the top 9. Top 10 completed with a very good run from Sean Tobin of Ireland. Former European marathon champion Daniel Meucci, 11th. Other names to note in there include Antonio Abada, former European under-23 steeplechase champion, now very much a 10,000 metre runner, as they still come through the line a couple of minutes after the winner has broken the tape. There's the team standings. Turkey, indeed, with 3 in the top 7, take the team title. Great Britain take the silver. Italy packed strongly to win the bronze by 1 point from Spain. Belgium, Norway and Ireland, they're 5, 6 and 7. Reflections on that race,
and Belgium only 1 point away from the bronze as